sack. Is that all you get for your money? And if that's what you have in mind, yeah, that's what you're all about. Good luck moving up, 'cause I'm moving out.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Real Estate on the Move. I am your host, Jenny Whitten with Movers Real Estate. Here with my husband, David Dabrowski, also with Movers Real Estate.
Good morning.
And Jim Foster with American Mortgage Bank.
And we are back, folks. Happy Saturday morning.
Happy Saturday morning. We also have our guest speaker, a really good friend of mine. I love him to death, Chad Mckamie.
Good morning.
Everybody bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning?
Yeah, it feels like this week just went by so fast. It feels like we were just here.
I know. It's like we didn't even go.
It feels like it's a Tuesday.
Yes.
Oh, all right, guys. If you feel or if you want to chime in on our conversation today, we are going to be talking about how to grow your wealth. Call in at 405-840-1000. We would love to hear from you. And, of course, anybody that does call in, we will be giving away gift cards. And just
you
got
to leave your name and number with
Gotta leave
Mike.
your name and number. Yeah. So, in order to get that stuff. So, can't give it out if we don't know who you are. All right, guys. We are going to do our good old national days.
Oh, what's going on this week?
Oh, yeah. Good days today. Good days today. Jenny will love this one. National Cook a Sweet Potato Day.
I actually love that.
I don't know why she's all about the sweet potatoes.
I like sweet potatoes.
Oh, give me a regular baked potato anytime.
Guys, I'm
Loaded
not saying I don't love
Taters.
the baked potato, but the sweet potato, what you don't realize is you could do a lot with it. You could turn it into crazy stuff, like a chocolate brownie. I've tried it.
That's not a chocolate brownie if there's sweet potato.
Sweet potato pie. And then, of course, you get your roasted sweet potatoes.
Jumbo sweet potato.
And let me tell you something. Shut up, David.
This sounds like Bubba Gump on Forrest Gump. I could do this kind of shrimp, this kind of shrimp, this kind of shrimp.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. If
What do you like? What do you like?
I like French fries.
French fries. See, regular potatoes.
Sweet potato French fries.
Nope.
You don't like a sweet potato at all, Chad?
I just threw up in my mouth.
Not at all.
Oh my gosh. What is wrong with you boys?
I think we can get on the next one.
Yes, right.
National Margarita Day.
I'm telling you, this is.
Ding, ding,
this
ding,
is
ding,
my
ding,
husband and Jim, 100%.
My wife, Brooke, loves that's all she drinks.
Is it really?
That's it. Margaritas.
I got a machine that'll make them.
Oh, see? Honey?
Well,
all right.
And my old age, I don't really drink stuff like that anymore because I can't handle it.
Oh,
so,
please.
No, I would be.
You won't be face down at the bar anymore.
Yeah, I'll be flat on my face if I do. So the only time we get wild and crazy is when we are playing a bird game with your mother.
Yeah, Wingspan.
So,
Yep.
Yeah, shout out to Dee. So we are crazy, and you can call us a bunch of wild and crazy kids. We have Friday and Saturday evenings that we have game night over at our house with my mother-in-law.
Hey,
we have a lot of activities.
That kind of brings us to National Wildlife Day.
Hey!
Birds. We love that because that goes hand in hand with camping.
That's right. We love to go camping.
And we went to that RV show and bought a new camper.
We did. My husband purchased another RV. Well, so listen to this, guys. We actually got a smaller one, traded it in. But it's kind of like trading in your car. You can only use it for so long before you realize that you're going to have to do some severe maintenance to try to keep this thing that's been shaking for thousands of miles down the road, put it back together because his truck pulls it, obviously. And, last summer we went up to Glacier National Park with that. So, and then...
I love camping as long as there's room service.
Well, in the RV, you can take a shower.
That's right. Hey, woman. Give me some food.
There's your room service.
That's right. That's right.
Jim, I started last week.
Hey,
you were all about, does my wife own a kitchen or does she go into the kitchen? And now this week he's like, no.
She does.
Jim's fired.
We have quite a few more days because today there were good ones. Next one is Jenny's.
Which one?
Open that bottle night.
Oh, right
my
on.
gosh,
Where's
he
that bell?
says that.
Where's that bell? Where's that bell?
Yeah.
Ring the bell, Mike.
Ring that
And
bell.
then the next one is Play More Cards Day.
Once
Right
again,
on.
it
We
goes
love
hand
our
in
card
hand
games.
with our game nights.
I mean, this is a totally good game day.
well, and I like this one. Hey, guys, George Washington's birthday.
Yeah, that's
Hello.
true.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday,
All
Mr.
right.
President.
And do you know?
Our founding father who'd be rolling over in his grave right now if he knew what we were paying in taxes.
Oh, amen to that.
So,
And just for the record, he was not our first president. He was the first constitutionally elected president.
Constitutionally,
Yes, there
he
was
was the first
12 or
one.
13 more before him.
really?
Yeah.
So, well, we learn something
Wow,
every
fun
day.
fact of the day right there.
Yeah. Jim is a plethora of
I am.
He is. What's
I know-
this on the store here, David? What is this?
In 1879, the first Woolworth store opened
Woolworth,
in New York.
yeah. Okay.
Are they
That
still
was a
around?
big deal. Yeah.
I don't even know they're still around.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, they're not around
My
anymore.
wife would
Yeah,
know.
okay. I'm like, I have no idea. So, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get into the topic of the day, which is how to grow your wealth. I asked Chad to come on because Chad and I not only work together, but we are mingled in other areas of business. But Chad, why don't you go ahead and start telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got on your path of being an entrepreneur?
Sure. Yeah. Man, my path is probably similar to a lot of people. I went to college at Southern Nazarene.
SNU.
SNU, where it's character, culture, Christ is our main thing. But I played golf there on the golf team. Had a great time playing for Coach Holsey. After that, I got married. While my
How long have you been married to your wife?
this summer will be 20 years.
Let's give her a shout out.
wow.
What's her name? Say her name on the show.
Kendall, she is awesome. She is my best friend, and I am truly blessed by
And
her.
you've got babies too.
I've got two babies, 11-year-old Emery and 8-year-old Cohen, and we have a great time. But no, I started out taking the quote safe job. I worked for Chesapeake like the rest of Oklahoma City did, straight out of college. I took the safe job so safe that it ended up getting me fired 4 years later.
Wow,
And-
what happened?
Oh, I wish I could say that I got severance package and everything, but no, I was just shown the door and escorted to my car by the security officers.
Landman, what'd
Oh
you
my
do
gosh,
for him?
what'd you do?
No, I wish. I wish I could say I did something good. I was just an accountant and auditor. I was
Okay.
a finance major.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so the day before I got fired, this is an amazing thing how God works. The day before I met with a
Yahoo.
guy at our office named Shelby Cummings about buying some investment properties with my mom and dad. And the next day I get fired, and I called Shelby the following day and said, "Hey, I've always thought about real estate. You got any advice for me?" And so he said, "Yeah, man, come on over and we'll get you fixed up here." And that was almost 15 years ago now. And
And what do you do
Crazy.
now?
now I sell real estate for Keller Williams Realty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, realtor.
He's a realtor.
You're a realtor,
Yeah.
of course. Okay.
So that's how Chad and I know each other. Is I used to work with him whenever I worked up at Keller Williams Elite.
Okay.
And let me tell you something. I mean, I'm not going to let just anybody be on this show. I mean, one, they have to have good ethics. Two,
Right.
they have to know what they're doing. And I'm going to bring him on to have him tell us a little bit about what he does. And I truly believe he's got a great story on how to build your wealth. And that right there, I mean, how you thought your life was going to go down a path in one direction, all
And
of
then
a sudden,
bam.
you're looking for another job. You reach out to Shelby, which I did not know that. And Shelby,
And what year
Cummings,
was
I
this?
love him.
This was
Yeah.
2010.
Okay, so 14 years ago, 15 years ago. All right.
So cool thing about my dad, I was terrified to tell my dad that I got fired. My dad is my hero.
Right.
And so, I was more nervous to tell my dad that I got fired than my wife.
Well, because then your dad's like, why? What'd you do, son? Right?
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
exactly.
and why don't you tell them what your dad did for a living?
So my dad was a dentist.
He wasn't just a dentist. He had a very well presence in Bethany.
Yeah.
Okay.
Incredible man.
So
Is that why your teeth look so good? All right. I like it. Okay.
he'll
All
be
right.
yeah, and you have beautiful teeth.
Well,
as well.
yeah.
As a dentist kid, you look at everybody's teeth. so-
Right.
But my dad, he, I was terrified to tell him. And my time at Chesapeake was not my highlights of
What was your dad's name? What's
Andy Mckamie.
Andy Mckamie, okay.
And so I go over and I tell him, hey, Dad, I got to tell you something. I got fired today. And he looked at me and he goes, congratulations.
Wow.
With a big grin on his face. And he goes, congratulations. Now let's go do what you want to do. What do you want to do? And I said, well, I've always thought about real estate. He goes, great. I've got your back. Let's do it.
Well, hold that thought. It's a perfect time for us to go ahead and take a break. Come back. We'll be talking more with Chad Mckamie with Real Estate on the Move. And we're back with Real Estate on the Move. I am your host, Jenny Whitten with Movers Real Estate. Here with my husband, David Dabrowski, also with Movers Real Estate.
Dabrowski.
Good Saturday morning.
And Jim Foster with American Mortgage Bank.
Good morning, folks.
And our special guest speaker of the day, Chad Mckamie. He is with Keller Williams Elite, good friend of mine. Everybody's getting really bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, wide awake now. We're on segment 2.
Yes.
So we are
Weather's getting better.
Weather is getting better, hopefully. We're no, guys, it's the end of February.
It is.
Okay?
Yeah, we're going into March, man.
End of February. I mean, I expect us to have a couple more, freezes because we all know in Oklahoma we're going to have one quick freeze right at the end of March. Yep. But we've only really got about another month of misery left, and then we go into our rainy season and hail. And then we'll have Robin's Roofing back on here because then we'll need him at that point in time.
Exactly.
So, all right, Jim.
Jim Foster, NMLS 216244, American Mortgage Bank, NMLS 1151140. Come prosper with Foster. We are an equal housing lender. Yes, we are.
Yes, you are.
Yes, we are.
Hey, well, we're sitting here today and we're actually talking about how to grow your wealth. Obviously, we want to talk about rates, but Jim, last week we were talking about taking advantage of the grant.
Yes.
Obviously, it's still available.
Still available.
Why don't you go ahead and tell them one more time?
All right, folks. For anyone that's wanting to purchase a house, we first-time home buyers, you can't own a home within the last 3 years to qualify. So first-time home buyers-ish, right? 3 years. It's a $20,000 grant. It can go for your closing costs. It goes for your down payment. Goes for your prepaid. When I say closing costs, prepaids, taxes, insurance, title work, appraisal, the whole 9 yards. Also, it can go to pay realtor fees.
Hey-o.
Hell yeah, realtor fees, yep. And to buy down the rate if there's money left over. $20,000 grant, folks. So give me a call, 405-534-2294. Let me help you out.
Well, and we have all of these people on when we're doing our wealth building segment because we want to tell you that there are stories out there that anybody can take advantage of. I mean, I know that you guys have to realize from my family, my mother was a school teacher and she was incredible. She is an incredible woman, but when she was working, she has her master's in special ed, a minor in English literature. She has taught kids from all ages, but ultimately, she was a school teacher, first person in her family to graduate from college. My dad, military. He was enlisted in the Vietnam War. Then he went back, got his college education that the government paid for because he was enlisted in the war, GI Bill.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And then turned around and was an officer and put in 23 years. Ended up retiring as a pilot. First person in his family to ever graduate from college. Now, they were not wealthy by any means. They actually have more money now that they're retired than they ever did before. I mean, they struggled with kids, but it's funny because I never in a million years would have thought that I would have been the person that came from the family that ended up getting into real estate and am doing what I'm doing today. When we left, before we went on the break, Chad, you're telling us that, you graduated from college, you get your job at Chesapeake, just like everybody did back then.
Yeah.
They fire you, you call your dad. Let's say it again. What did he tell you?
He said, congratulations. Now let's go do what you want to do. And,
I love that.
Like I said, my dad was my hero. And so growing up, I always knew that I wanted to be a dentist just like him. that changed my senior year of high school when we watched a facelift video in anatomy class, and I literally turned green.
All the cutting and all
Oh,
the.
it was terrible. You know, the scraping of the forehead, it was bad. Like, that's when I knew that I couldn't,
I don't know if I
wouldn't
got
make it
to
through
this.
it.
Well, you know what's about it. So here's a fun fact of me. Whenever I went into college, my mom and dad were like, "What do you want to do for a living?" And I said, "I absolutely have no idea." I said, "The only thing that even sounds interesting is maybe I can be a dental hygienist, or I can go and do something with art." And then all of a sudden, I had my aha moment of, I don't want to scrape nasty people's teeth for a living. That sounds really disgusting to me, because as clean as you think your mouth is, that's
It's
still
not.
disgusting.
It's really not.
And I don't want to do that. And so that is how I randomly said, I think I'm going to pick graphic design. I'm a graphic design major now because of that right there. It had nothing to do. I knew nothing about graphic design, guys.
Right.
Isn't it funny how Madeline, my daughter, she for the longest time said she wanted to be a dentist.
Oral surgeon.
Yeah. And then I think now she's decided that that's pretty gross.
Yeah.
And my dad, he told me, he's like, "Hey, I only make money when I'm at the chair." And so
That's
you know,
right.
it's back breaking, bending over. And so
Yeah.
he's like, "Let's figure out a different way." And so real estate was that path for me.
And what you can do. Yeah.
Who's out there listening that's like me? It's I knew not to be a doctor or a dentist because I would mess somebody up. I'm just too.
Jim,
I don't
you
pay
cannot
attention.
sit still
No, I know. I'm
long
like,
enough to
what-
perform a
who are we-
surgery on
Who are we
someone.
doing surgery on next? Let's get to the next room, please.
Oh my gosh.
So that's why I work with numbers,
Well, but
not
I
an
also-
accountant, because that's even more. But yeah,
And I also think that people have to, Chad, I mean, we're in this business because we ultimately do want to help people.
Absolutely.
And we do that.
For sure.
So, and you said something
Build
key, because this is how we are really connected right here. As you said, when you started getting into this business, you actually were reaching out to Shelby because you were going to talk your parents into buying some investment properties, and you reached out to ask Shelby about it.
That's right. Yeah, we had looked to buying some rental properties with Shelby, and so I mean, it took him another almost 10 years before he finally bought his first one, because he ended up selling his practice, and he did a 1031 exchange on his building and lot that he owned, and so we had the mad rush of trying to go find properties.
and for those that are listening, a 1031 exchange is has a tax purpose. And go ahead, Jenny. What is it?
That's right. Well, it is not on a primary investment, guys. It is only on an investment property, but ultimately you can take the profits that you make off of that property, purchase another property, and they are not allowed to tax you
Keep
on
them
it.
away from capital gains.
Capital gains
Yep.
tax, that's correct. But obviously at that point
Yeah.
in time, Chad, you were a realtor, so your dad used you.
He did. Thankfully, I've
That's
been really
right.
upset with those family dinners would have been a little awkward.
He said,
if
"Go
hadn't.
do what you really want to do, but I'm not going to use you.
Well, yeah. So, no. So,
Wait 10
I want to
years
see how
until
you
figure it
do,
out.
right? Yeah.
That-
Let's get your feet wet."
but you know what? That tells you how much he actually totally adored his son. He let his son become a success. And then he said,
Yeah.
all right, now
let's
you
do
know
it."
what you're doing. Let's go. And that is how we are connected, because his mother
Sounds like my
lets
dad.
us manage her property.
That's awesome.
That's right.
So-
So we ended up losing my dad 3 years ago. It's 3 years ago on the 11th due to COVID, and so thankfully he was able to acquire some properties to help take care of my mom after he's gone. And so
I'm sorry about that. My dad
thank you.
COVID too.
really,
And he passed away as
August
well.
2020.
Yeah.
yeah, we were February 11th of 22, and it's a tough season right now.
Yeah.
It
Because
is.
actually tomorrow is my mom's birthday, and
Oh.
so it's just going to be one of those weird things. But,
Right.
But
And,
man, God is good. He's faithful in all things, and so we're making it. We're okay.
well, but you know what? That's what makes you strong. You are a strong man.
Well,
so
thank you.
I appreciate you being here, and I mean, I'm grateful for it.
And not
your
bad looking
mom-
either.
Oh, I thank you.
Yeah.
Your mom is lovely, and she's such a smart little woman. But oh my gosh, she has such a kind soul. She
mom's
really
awesome.
does.
My mom's
so
awesome.
I know. So obviously, you still work with investors. I know that you have success stories for helping people that have bought investment properties, but you also have a builder that you work with as well.
I do.
So tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, I'll be real short about it. His name's Mark Bonadeo. He doesn't build a ton. He's not one of your big builders.
Kind of boutique guy.
Definitely a boutique guy. He builds about 6 to 8 houses a year. We're over in Crestone Ridge, which is
good houses.
Very good houses. Very good houses. They're range between 24 and 2,800 square feet, just west of County Line off of Wilshire. And we actually have 3 available as of right now. But yeah, he builds a great house.
Well, and he's in Yukon?
He's in Yukon. He's one of the developers out there. Correct.
So what would you say? I know we're getting ready to go into the second or the third segment here, but your mom, I know that she does all of her investment properties as well, and she, of course, uses OKC management. But at what point didn't you just recently say, Chad, I'm going to give you the reins? And so now Chad is actually starting to take over, helping with, budgets and really, overseeing what she does. Do you like it so far?
I'm a numbers nerd. I was going to be an accountant until I got into Accounting 1 and realized I didn't know where all the numbers went. But I'm a numbers nerd, so we're taking an active look at what properties are producing for us and what are
because people need to understand. You have to know that song. You got to know when to hold them.
You know when to fold them. Right.
Exactly. So, all right, guys, we'll be continuing this conversation with Real Estate on the Move when we come back. And we're back with Real Estate on the Move. I am your host, Jenny Whitten with Movers Real Estate. Here with David Dabrowski, also with Movers Real Estate.
Dabrowski.
Good Saturday morning. Hey, welcome to your Saturday Real Estate Variety Show.
That's right. We're back.
That's right. I think we are trying to make it fun for you guys. I mean, the whole point is to open up your eyes, get you energized while you have that cup of coffee.
Don't fall back asleep.
That's right.
Get up, mow the lawn, do whatever you need to do.
Hey, if you want to prosper with Foster, you better get up.
You better get up, folks.
You better get up. We are also here with Jim Foster with American Mortgage
Hello.
Bank and Chad Mckamie with Keller Williams, Realtor Extraordinaire. But right now we're going to go into the OKC market. Because if you let me keep talking, all I do is jibber jabber, and then Mike doesn't get his sound bites in.
I can't get a word in either.
I know, my husband never does. He always complains,
Welcome to
guys.
my world.
He's like, Jenny just constantly talks. Well, that's right. I constantly talk. I love it. I can't help it.
But at least you're good looking.
All right. Yeah. That makes me happy. Thank you. So, all right. So we were sitting there. We were talking about the Oklahoma City market. I kind of want to take a different direction today because we do have Chad here. He's with a different office. It's with an office that does a lot of business as well. Keller Williams Elite. I love them. I worked there for 5 years. So props to them. Have you guys been talking about anything with the market? Have you seen things get busier? I mean, with all those agents, I mean, I know that they have powwows and stuff and tell you what they've kind of been seeing. I feel like it's getting a little bit busier. How do you feel?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, after the election, after the first of the year, things definitely picked up.
Trump bump.
Thank God.
Trump bump. Is that what they call it?
One kind of hot topic in the neighborhood, in the office, is how many busted contracts we're seeing.
Yes.
Are you experiencing the same thing?
So, no, but I will tell you this. I haven't had a lot that busted, but I have... Listen, man.
We didn't do the stats this week, but I wonder, what were they last week?
Well, I can't remember what they were last week. They're so
yeah.
close. I mean, it was like 600 on the market, 600 sold, so it's still kind of even. I think there were a little bit more that were
like 600
on the market.
price reductions?
Yeah, we're at like
500 and some odd price reductions.
Yeah, we're almost at
100%
price reductions.
price reductions.
Got a lot in your office?
Oh, my word. I mean, yeah, things are definitely sitting. I mean, interest
if you don't
rates
have
are
a
killing
price
us.
rate, that's right. I mean, interest rates.
Interest rates are killing us, and not only interest rates, insurance rates are killing us too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you preach. See, you were not here last week. We were also talking about that. I mean,
insurance, yeah.
You have the investors that just complain, and they're angry with you, and they're coming from another state, and they're like, well, my numbers don't work with your taxes and your insurance. Well, I'm sorry. You know,
Nothing
I
we
mean,
can do
there's
about it, yeah.
nothing I can do about it. So, I definitely feel like the conversation that realtors need to be having with their sellers is that don't bust a deal over a reasonable repair.
Sure.
Guys, the
Sure.
repair's not going away.
No, the repair's not going away. And I mean, to be fair, buyers think they have a lot more leverage these days than they probably do.
But the sellers are,
but the
it's
sellers-
gone are the
sellers-
days of I don't have to do
it's
anything for
definitely
you.
not a seller's market.
No,
it is
and-
a buyer's market.
And a lot of sellers still think we're in 2020 and
They do.
through 22 to
Absolutely.
where they think that we should be able to put a sign in the yard and have it sold with before you get back to the office.
And you're going to have
And
15
you're having
offers on
7
it,
offers
and that's not, that's not the
appraisal
case.
gaps and all that stuff.
Yeah,
But
I was actually looking at comps the other day, guys, for one of my listings, and I'm just going through trying to find and I'm not even paying attention to the actives because your actives for 187 days mean nothing to me. That shows me that you're not priced where you need to be. But
not
I'm
close.
looking at the pendings, I'm looking at the solds, I'm looking at what an appraiser will use. I went through 30 homes. Guys, there was only one that had a multiple offer situation on it.
Really?
One.
Wow.
That should speak volumes
what was the price range on
to
it?
you. It was right around 300.
Yeah.
So it should speak volumes to where our market is. And we want a stable market. We want to be able to pick and choose. Don't you guys want to have that opportunity to go to bed and pray and think about, is this going to be the right home for my family? Is it going to meet my wants and my needs?
For sure.
And we couldn't do that before.
No, and
So-
there's a saying in real estate: if you sleep on it, you may not sleep in it.
That's
And,
right. That's right.
And especially 2020 through 22. I mean, that was a very real situation.
That's right. I mean, my favorite quote, and I've said it before and I'm going to say it again, was if you wanted to sell a house, all you had to do was show up.
Yep. Back then, it's true.
Not the case anymore, guys. So I definitely think that we need to be focusing on, if you want to get your house sold, really listen to the advice of your real estate agent. And, Chad, I think it was important for me to have you on here too, because you did have a builder. I know he doesn't do a lot, but, from the building perspective, is he seeing his houses actually sell at the time of completion, or are they having to sit there for a while?
No, we're definitely sitting there a little bit longer than what we'd
than
like
normal.
to.
I think a lot of them are. I mean, because I started noticing they're offering bonuses and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I mean,
And that wasn't a thing.
no,
Yeah.
heck no. I mean, we were, back even 2 years ago, we didn't even have to offer any incentives
Of course you
whatsoever.
didn't.
Everybody would just pay full price.
Or over.
No
Or
closing
over.
cost or over.
Yeah.
And now
Those were all those people coming from California that had all that cash.
That cash.
On it. Yeah.
quick cash, yeah.
Quick, yeah.
Making their moves over here.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, guys, I had a friend. I mean, he came back. I mean, when he came back, he actually moved out to California. When he moved out to California, I think he was there for 2 months, and then the world shut down.
Holy smokes.
I finally, his family and I talk him into coming back. I mean, that man was in a severe state of depression because, one, they weren't allowed to work. I mean, he was in LA. They shut everything down. You could not do anything over there. And you talk about a state of depression. I mean, how sad. I mean, when you're used to being in Oklahoma and you're, here we were very fortunate. I mean, we all were able to go outside. You could still drive around, even though it may have been dead. You could go drive around. We had the capability of going to our stores and stuff like that. Obviously, everywhere they couldn't shut those down.
Yeah.
But
Well,
people.
and during COVID, there were about 4 of us at the office regularly, and it was great. We got a lot.
I
of work
saw
done.
you there. We were there.
We got a lot of work done
on
didn't
a
we?
regular basis. I know. It was so funny because we were all laughing. We were like, there's only the certain people that actually show up all the time, and you get to know them.
So there was a stat that came out last week that said like 71% of all realtors did not sell a single house last year in 2024. 71%.
Kidding me. Well, then I don't feel too bad for what we did.
Right. So, it just goes to show you need to make sure you're interviewing who you hire.
Oh, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely.
How were your builders when the tariffs are no longer in effect? But were they concerned about wood and supplies?
Yeah, we saw that on.
Yeah.
People were posting stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be bad news if we get a 25% tariff on lumber. Thankfully, right now they've put a pause on that, at least as of today. But yeah, that's a real concern because he's not going to eat all that cost. He's got to still put food on his plate.
That's correct.
Which then runs a challenge for, is it going to appraise?
That's right.
And if you jack up the price by 25% on your materials, there's a good chance it's not going to appraise.
Well, but I want the United States to hear us now. Let's start making our own stuff. You know?
Yeah, amen.
I mean, I cannot for everybody.
We used to do that.
Yeah, I mean, what? Excuse me, say that again?
We used to do that.
I mean, you guys, let's open our eyes. Stop giving money to other countries. Let's actually make everything here. I know I'm getting political. I know people can't.
Well, I don't know.
stand it.
It's political. It's more money than political.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
completely agree.
yeah.
I feel like, we're talking about growing your wealth.
Yeah.
You're busting your butt, Chad, to try to make money to, bring food home for your family. Your builder's building stuff so he could bring money home for his family. We show up. We're talking about who was at the actual office during the shutdown. There were only a handful of us. You know what I mean? It's like the people that want to work will always have the opportunity. It is there. So we need to stop worrying about us not being able to get a chip for our phones from China, guys.
Yeah.
It's not political, it's policy. Policy
It
affects
is.
us all.
Yeah.
I know.
Bring it home, folks. Bring it home.
Well, stay tuned, guys. When we come back, we're going to be talking about what is fun to do in OKC this week, right here with Real Estate on the Move. And we're back with Real Estate on the Move. I am your host, Jenny Whitten with Movers Real Estate, here with my husband, David Dabrowski, Movers Real Estate,
Good morning.
and Jim Foster with American Mortgage Bank.
Hello there. We are back.
And Chad Mckamie, our special guest speaker of the day.
Chad is back too.
Chad's back.
Chad's back. All right, guys, we were talking about the Oklahoma City market. We were talking about how to grow your wealth. I'm super excited that Chad was on because he truly knows what he's talking about as well. And, we're connected on the investment side of things, as well as always powwowing about real estate deals. So
There was an old adage way back there. There's only so much ground, right? So that's a good way to build wealth because that's how I guess our Trump did it. There's a lot of people make their wealth in real estate.
Well, I can't sit there and stress enough about how that's the avenue that we took. But, we were sitting there talking earlier about how, I never in a million years would have thought that I would have ended up in this, situation.
Yeah.
And, I know you guys have heard my story before, but I really got into real estate just to say that I was self-employed for a year so I could go be a pharmaceutical rep. Knowing me now, it is such a joke.
That's hilarious.
Because, yes, my
I don't
husband
know that
knows.
you'd make it as a pharmaceutical rep these days.
Oh, Chad, I am such an advocate against what the health industry is doing.
I don't know that you could make it.
My eyes have completely opened, and I am tired of them trying to poison us. So I am out with the dyes, out with all the chemicals.
Hey,
and
RFK, he's getting after it.
It's about time, and we all need to be embracing him with open arms. I just am to the point where this is not a political thing. This is a real statement. I am very passionate about it.
Are you telling me you're not a fan of Fauci? A Fauci fan?
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
I'm just gonna fan the flame here.
Well, guys, I've got a kid. I've got a kid with severe autism. We watched him change right before our eyes. So I don't care what your story is. Everybody has their own stories, and that is okay. I have my story. When someone has a story and they want to share, listen. That's my tangent. I'll stop ranting and raving.
Hey, but they can call in at 405-840-1000.
That's right.
Great little plug there, Jim.
Yes.
Hey, I got a great example of a house being overpriced and not even realizing it's overpriced. So you're talking about sitting there for 180 days. Those houses are overpriced.
Yeah.
Well, just because you have an offer on the house, if that offer is a contingent offer,
That's right.
and it still sits there for another 180 days or longer because nobody else has come in and made another offer.
And no one has bought the house of the contingency. So what does that tell you?
That
They've priced their house too high as well.
That's true too. Just because you have one offer,
Listen,
it can still be overpriced.
and I keep telling, I tell my clients this all the time. I said, listen, I'm going to list it wherever you guys want me to list it, but I'm going to give you my knowledge, and I'm going to circle back, and I'm going to say, hey, This isn't where we need to be. It is not rocket science. If people are not asking to come into that property to view that property, you are not where you need to be. And if they are viewing the property and you have people that are in and you've shown that house 10 times and you still don't have an offer, guess what? You're not where you need to be.
Well, I think a lot of people need to realize that we're on the same team.
That's right.
We're partners in it. They just may have more equity in the
That's right.
in the teammate.
And we want to make the money, guys.
Yeah,
We
and
absolutely
we want them to
want
make as much money as they can.
That's right.
But our
sitting
job-
there is not making
No,
money.
That's right.
No, and our job is to tell them as much information as we have and let them decide when it's time to make that move. But I mean, it's ultimately it's their call because it's their money.
It's their money.
They've got more equity in it. But
Exactly.
we're not doing our job if we don't present that information to them.
Yeah, if we are not open and honest right from the get-go and have those conversations, even though they may be a tough conversation to have,
Nobody wants to tell somebody that their house is worth $70,000 than what the neighbor sold it for three years ago down the street.
That's right. And you know what, guys? I mean, I know that it's hard because when we are selling a house, we want it to be as high as possible. But when we turn around and we want to buy, we want it to be as low as possible.
Yeah.
Well, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
If you are going to sell it super high because the market's strong and going strong, you're ultimately going to turn around and buy a house that's priced really strong as well. Because guess what? The market's strong for them too.
Yeah.
Just as it was for you. But I mean, I think it's okay that we are going down a little bit, getting a little bit more stable, because it's like we were saying, you want to be able to have that moment to breathe and to think, is this the right property for me? And a lot of people were going under contract and they were buying stuff that really needed a significant amount of work and they just didn't care because they were so desperate to get a house. Well, guess what, guys? Your money runs out quick when you have to start doing the repairs. So I'm happy that we have time to breathe.
Back in 2020 and 21, there were a lot of people. I heard one poor client. They wrote 17 offers before they ever got under contract, and then they had to end up buying it with all the repairs it needed because they didn't want to go through everything all over again.
They didn't want to go through it again because it's either get a house and pay or don't get a house and pay.
Yeah, so they just took it on the chin, and it basically inherited a house with over $10,000 worth of foundation repair that needed to be done.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I know. And we've had houses that we've paid money on foundation repairs. I mean, it is Oklahoma.
It happens, but...
All right, Oklahoma. Speaking of Oklahoma, what's fun this week? What's going on? While you're at the fairgrounds today, stop by the Arts and Crafts building. David, this is up your alley. OKC's Toy Extravaganza is going on, and they are displaying vintage toys throughout the decades. This one actually does cost money to get in. It was $5 to get in, but it reminded me of, what was the name of that place?
That toy museum down. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, we went
Paul's
to
Valley. There's a toy museum in Paul's Valley.
You guys, it was incredible. So
Yeah.
we actually went to this toy museum, and of course we're just like heading off the beaten path, going, let's just run by, let's go see. We had the kids with us. I think I had a better time than the kids did. I walked in, and it's just this big giant room, and they've got this display of all these older toys, but in the front they had this display of like this World War II fighting scene.
Okay, so now we're talking real vintage, because when you walk in a toy
Yes.
store and a vintage and it's a Rubik's Cube and it's vintage, I have a problem with
No,
that.
it wasn't that.
sure.
You know,
Okay,
they
all
had,
right.
but they did have a lot of iconic toys. I don't remember that, but what I do remember from it, David will remember, it just was really cool. But they literally have this display of this battlefield of World War II, like a battle
I remember
scene.
that now, yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
made with like G.I. Joes.
Oh, right
It
on.
was
that's cool.
so neat.
And it was the original big G.I. Joe.
Yeah, it was so
that's
freaking cool. And I actually thoroughly appreciate it. I think I sent a picture to my dad because, you know, he was a history major, I'm a history minor. My son asked me the other day, he's like, Mom, how'd you become a history minor? And is that something that I can do? I said, son, I don't know. It wasn't like I started out going, I think I want to be a history minor. It was that I literally just started taking enough electives
Just to get the
because
credits.
I loved it
Right.
to get the credits, and then bam, you know, I had enough at that point
I
in
just
time.
saw this morning, there was a joke that Shane Gillis did about being a history buff. What is that a sign of? Being a conservative?
What? Oh my God.
An interest in the
Thank
Civil
you.
War.
This is
Yeah.
No.
And it's funny that you're talking about that.
Nobody can tell
your
which way we
history,
lean.
Your
Yeah.
history interest.
I am a huge history
And
buff.
is our history true? That's what we really
Well,
need to know, right?
yeah, I know.
Shout
so
out to Brooke.
anybody sitting there saying that World War II didn't happen has lost their ever
That's
loving
right.
mind. Okay, guys, Chad Mckamie, thank you
ma'am.
so much
Chad.
for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is
Yeah.
great.
yeah.
Well, we love you, and we'd love to have you back on again in the future to talk shop with us. And guys, happy Saturday out there. Stay safe. I appreciate you tuning in. As always, we are going to give God the glory. Jim
Yahoo.
Ivins, sing us out.
Have a good weekend.
May each day in the week be a good day. May the Lord always watch over you, and may all of your hopes turn to wishes, and may all of your wishes come true. May each day